Thanks, man.
Tracy,
Good
how
morning,
are you?
guys.
How
All
are
right.
you, Trace? Trace, great to have you back. Pretty wild day.
Right.
Actually, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so we have this. I want to start with energy, right? That's still your wheelhouse, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know you have expanded your universe dramatically over the years, but why don't we start with WTI? And I guess there's an OPEC meeting possibly this weekend. Where's your head at these levels down here, Trace? You know,
I
low
mean,
80s, mid 70s.
we kind of had Biden come in and put a floor under this, right? At around 70, right? Because he said he would start buying back. So we kind of have a floor under this. I mean, really, obviously, the major trend is still down.
Yes.
But, I think, a lot of it has to do with greater recession fears. And I actually had a Spaces meeting that we kind of went over all of this. And it's my pinned tweet. If anybody wants to go review that, it was on Wednesday where we went over rates and everything and oil.
So the recession outlook kind of clouds
So
the
it's
picture.
the recession outlet, right? And then we've got China, never-ending lockdowns and things of that nature. But fundamentally, this market is still very tight. And should China come back fully, which probably won't happen until, say, March or so after the Chinese Lunar New Year that's in February, that will bring back another 800,000 barrels per day. So fundamentally, this market really hasn't changed. What we have seen in open interest is there is none. We've seen
people
a lot
don't know what to do.
We've seen a lot of longs, if you look at the COT reports, the FTC, a lot of longs have liquidated, but shorts really haven't done anything. So we just really have people not really interested in this market right now.
Okay, so actually he was waiting to refill at 70. My bet is that the market front ran President Biden, and he's not going to get his 70. Pretty good week we're putting in. So do you think a weaker dollar? And I also want to acknowledge that the last time you were on, the dollar had peaked, I don't know, around 112. And I asked you about the dollar, and you said, oh, I wouldn't be long the dollar, even if there's another high or so to come, which is quote unquote from 3-4 months ago. And we had that new high, and then we basically, it's been a pretty good crash until today.
Absolutely. And if you look, really the dollar's been driving this entire market, right?
It has.
It really
always
has.
does.
If you look at the indices, ES in particular, the S&P, really it's been singularly driven by the dollar. My feelings on the dollar correlation to crude oil. It's not really that correlated. Because we've seen higher dollar and higher oil at the same time. That correlation over time is, it's definitely not 1-to-1, especially when you have, a fundamentally tight market. That said, it is very correlated to gold. And that nature. And so, when everybody thought gold was dead, we're already like just above the 200 day, or was.
Look what's containing it. Everyone's looking at the 200 day. Look at the 200 week. It tagged it. That's a 50 week. 50 week. Yeah. But it looks pretty good, Trace. I mean,
it looks like, we had a nice consolidation there at the bottom for a while. And it kind of broke out of that consolidation. So that's, it still looks very constructive.
I nominated this, Trace, as I gave it the, I know you do, you're probably in some gold shares, but Newmont was the candle of the month.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have GFI and gold and and gold
and silver.
And silver, I have no silver position on right now. but that has done extremely well. I had some calls earlier in the month that I got rid of already. Probably should have held on to those.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it was profitable, so that was good. But silver for me, unless I see something really breaking out, it's a very volatile trade. That's why I prefer kind of calls over trying to trade that outright.
Okay.
Because it is so whippy.
Yeah, here's your gold silver ratio. I thought it was going to break out here. It did, and one more jiggle. It's still a wedge.
It's still a wedge. It still looks good, in my opinion.
Yeah, you would buy this chart, wouldn't you? Try and buy this
yeah,
chart?
absolutely. And I think
that means silver will underperform.
Yeah, but kind of this week we had kind of got a clues. Powell was kind of dovish a little bit for him for the very first time at Brookings when he spoke on Wednesday, right? And we kind of saw, rates fall, dollar fall, which is, very good for gold.
Yes. And but not so for the market. And this is the first time. We had this huge day with Paul, but the dollar weakness definitely has helped this rally.
Oh, absolutely.
So the dollar is really the game. The dollar's good.
It's been
you have to be short.
Yeah, it's really been the whole market. So if you've been watching dollar, if you're trading the S&P, if you don't have the dollar up, you're missing a big piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so do you think with the S&P, based upon the outlook you were talking about on your pinned tweet, that the market's going to make new lows into the spring?
It's possible. I would,
look at that.
I was thinking, Q2, end of Q2, possibly we could see the low. But, I think you never really see the market bottom until you see real capitulation. And we really haven't seen that yet. And so the lows definitely, might not be in. So,
okay. Would it change your mind? This is a trend line the whole universe is looking at.
Right.
The downtrend line in S&Ps.
Obviously, if we broke above that, I think that, then you have funds and CTAs and whatnot looking to get long. And so you can't really, at that point you have a trend change and you can't really go against those flows because they're so big.
Okay, so maybe we get a pullback to 38, 37, but these lows hold, and then we try and break out. Anyway,
I would just be careful like the second half of December.
Yeah.
Because I kind of fear that repeat of 2018. Obviously, it's going to be, obviously all eyes are going to be on, the Fed decision, right? Whether it's 50 or 75. The market's kind of expecting 50 at this point. So if we get a 75, that would be rather bearish for the market.
Okay. And what you still holding fertilizer stocks? Oh, and before I forget, Payman wanted me to ask you about how you're participating in lithium.
For lithium, I've kind of been in and out of that market. I don't really have anything on right now.
Uranium?
So I'm in Uroy still.
Okay, it had a big week last week.
In all honesty,
it had a gap. What was behind this move here, Trace?
It's I don't know, actually.
That's more bullish if you don't know. So I guess anyway. So would you continue to buy?
It's kind of been sideways, though. If you look at this market, it's kind of been sideways overall. So that's kind of one of my ones that I'm just holding, longer term, to be honest.
Anything in ags? I know you liked the fertilizer stocks for a while.
I still do. I think those are going to come into play not until Q1, Q2 next year. So, they've pulled back quite a bit. So going into next year might be a good opportunity to start re-looking at those.
Okay, and you don't have to move forward with that recommendation you're going to give me to go work at FTX. I'll just pass on that. Any view on any view on Bitcoin?
No.
You never have a view on Bitcoin.
That's just not my market. So I don't.
Okay, yeah.
I don't really know what's going on with that. Sorry, crypto.
Well, it's a winter. Now it's you live in Canada. You know it's like in February.
So I know I moved.
Oh, where are you?
I moved back to the US. I'm in Florida now.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so you wanted some warm weather in the beach,
right? I thought I'd go totally opposite.
All right, well, I hope that your new home, everything is great for you, and this change is great for you.
Well, thank you.
Anything you want to wrap with, Trace? That your message going into the end of the year, what you're telling your subscribers.
And if we're looking at the end of the year now, pay close attention to crude oil, because usually, although it's this hasn't been a usual year, but we have the SPR wind down, right? And then because December 31st is the tax assessment for how many barrels you have on hand, usually they try to slow production and get rid of as many barrels as possible, right? Because they don't want to be taxed on them. And so generally that tends to be pretty bullish because we have pretty big draws. So and that happens around mid-December into the end of the year. So just keep that in mind. And plus the SPR draws are winding down. And as we saw in this Wednesday for inventories, we only had a 1.4 million barrel SPR draw that was put back into commercial crude inventories, and we had an overall commercial crude inventory draw of 12 million barrels. So as those SPR draws start getting smaller and smaller, those are barrels that are being not in the market anymore, and so we are already seeing bigger draws.
Okay, and you look at the XLE, and it's almost like a different market because crude topped, on the invasion, then had a failing rally, and during that whole time that crude was on its way to where we are now, you had the biggest performer in the markets being oil shares. Can you explain that to us?
Absolutely. I mean, I think people find that's been overall, even though the front month crude market has been rather weak, if you look at, a lot of these oil stocks, they've been undervalued, right? They were, at the worst, they were only 2% of the market, coming down from 20% of the market.
Right.
We have some of the highest dividends
that's part
of all the sectors. So I think they're very investable right now.
Okay, it was a yield play as well as energy. So there were other factors. Okay, so do you think there'll be continuation? It's very crowded, this trade. Could it be vulnerable to a correction here with the market?
It could. It could if we start really seeing how bad of a recession is coming, right? And so I think that could spook the market, but so far they haven't, and there's still a lot of them are still well off their highs.
Okay, you're with Hightower now.
I started my own company. Yes.
Oh, is that the name of? Because there was a Hightower that was around forever.
Yeah, no,
different.
It's different.
Okay, well, God, a lot going on for you in the
I know, since we last talked, I have a ton of changes.
Yeah. So, that we're all fans of you here, Tracy, and anything you do, we're hoping for the best in both your new business enterprise, your new home, and, have a great holiday season. And
you guys too.
Really appreciate you coming in and edifying our community every quarter or so.
So absolutely, you guys are my favorite. So it's always a pleasure.
All right, Tracy Shuchart, and best place for people to follow you. I didn't see a link to your new company.
We are just getting up started. We'll launch after the first of the year. It's kind of holiday season, so I will have a link in my bio as soon as the company launches. For now, I'm on Twitter, obviously.
Yes.
And
Shy Girl.
And also at macroinsiderspro.com. I do weekly write-up there. And then also at placeyourtrades.com, which is Anthony Crudelli's thing. I do also have a blog on his site, and I hold a spaces every Wednesday for them.
A lot of you guys are down there in Florida that you're working with, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you also, you have people to, people. You move down there and know people. That's great, Trace. Yeah. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Likewise.
Talk to you next year, Tracy. Enjoy, and thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Tracy Shuchart, my trading warrior sister. Follow her at Shy Girl. Join the team, and Blake doing cartwheels over his S&P short in Morning Edge, and that's in 25 minutes. I hope that we were able to add value to what you guys are trying to accomplish. If we're bringing in great speakers for you to do some intelligence gathering, and also have home here if you want it. So that's going to be a wrap for the week. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and see everybody next week. Adios. Thanks, Trace.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.